A KOCO investigation after the governor's son was questioned by deputies outside of a local haunted house.
Now, you've probably seen the headlines and the body camera video floating around online. Deputies were called after a case full of guns was found in the parking lot. Those guns came from the truck of Drew Stitt, who said he was intoxicated. But he said he wasn't driving, and he told deputies he had a designated driver. A lot of questions now coming out of this, like did he receive preferential treatment?
And was there a cover-up? We want to be transparent with you. We did hold off on reporting this story until we could gather all of the facts, and what we found may not be what you've heard before.
KOCO's Evan Onstadt joining us now, and Evan, you have been investigating what really happened here.
Well, the biggest question here, the big key thing was, did Drew Stitt get treated differently by deputies and prosecutors because of who his dad is? Our reporting has determined, yes, he was treated differently, in some ways harsher than anyone involved in a similar incident this year.
To be honest, my dad's the governor.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, I know. I just like to clarify.
It's the body camera video now going global. Governor Kevin Stitt's 20-year-old son, who goes by Drew, talking to deputies outside Guthrie Haunts on Halloween night.
I'm going to be honest with you. Governor's son or not, your pupils are extremely dilated.
No, I know.
So it may be marijuana, that's fine.
No, I've been drinking.
You've been drinking?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Breaking down what happened,
That's why I asked
deputies say they were called after a large case full of guns was found in the parking lot. The governor's son told them the case was his.
Can we call your dad or your mom? I don't care which one.
The body cam video shows Drew calling one of his parents, who then spoke to the deputy on the phone.
So my concern is that there is a gun case that was dragged out of your son's truck, and your son is intoxicated. Is there any way you guys can come pick up these firearms?
The Stitts sent one of their security detail, an OHP trooper, to escort the group back to Stillwater. And we'll get back to that part in a moment. But the deputy later wrote up a report and sent an affidavit to the district attorney's office recommending a charge of minor in possession of alcohol. In a one-on-one interview, Logan County Sheriff Damon Devereaux defended his deputies, saying they handled this case by the book.
Minor possession was the only charge we had on this deal, because he wasn't carrying the weapons, he wasn't using the weapons, he wasn't driving, he wasn't causing a disturbance, so he couldn't have been arrested for public intoxication. And when you watch the body cam footage, you know, when I watched it, you know, he's not drunk. You know, like we think of a drunk stumbling, can't walk, has to hang on to stuff. He's, you know, it appears he may be under the influence, but I don't think he's drunk.
Devereaux says he and his entire staff have been getting angry phone calls and messages from people who say his department let the governor's son off the hook. But he says the opposite is true.
Did a full, as you guys know, detailed report of the incident. We've got body cam footage of the incident. An affidavit was filed of the incident, but yet we're accused of not covering it up because nobody knows it, knows anything about it. Our goal is not to gavel the heads of these youth to change the outcome of their future. It's to change behavior.
KOCO submitted an open records request to see how other minor in possessions were handled in Logan County this year, and the results backed up what Sheriff Devereaux told us, that there's only been one report filed since January of this year. The sheriff tells us nearly every time the alcohol is confiscated and the minor is sent home with his or her parents.
I was told that this was the only affidavit that was turned over to the district attorney's office for prosecution for minor in possession in 2022.
Correct. We went back and that is correct.
This is the only one.
This is the only one.
Well, Sheriff, really quick. I mean, it almost seems then that this young man, the governor's son, was almost definitely treated differently in some ways,
sure,
but not in a positive way because of who he is. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
Is that okay on the other end? Because I know that you're being accused by some of treating him better than what others would.
Well,
but I mean, did you treat him worse?
Well, in some factors, you can look at it that way.
Now, what about the guns? The governor's son is a member of the Oklahoma National Guard. He presented his military ID on the scene, so his age is not a factor.
I've got a deployment in February to.
The governor's son said on the body cam video he was hunting earlier in the day, and he told deputies at some point someone stole the case out of his truck. Now, there's no proof either way on what happened to that, but Sheriff Devereaux told us he believes the case was unlocked when it was found.
Is it illegal to leave guns in an unlocked case in a public place accidentally?
I don't know that it's illegal. It's not, I mean, it's kind of reckless.
Does the fact that you don't know whether or not it was left behind carelessly or whether or not somebody actually took it out of the truck, does that kind of make
really
it tough to
I mean, it's really irrelevant how it got to where it was at.
Devereaux says at the end of the day, his deputy filed the report because of who was involved. That being the son of the governor did not work out in Drew's favor.
My deputy made a decision, I'm going to do a report to cover my butt. And in some respects, we did go the extra mile to document this situation, cover our bases, to make sure that we didn't get accused of a favor for the governor's office, because we don't work that way.
The sheriff says Drew Stitt has been offered deferred prosecution by the district attorney, which he says is very common, and it may require Stitt to do community service, maybe some alcohol training, and some fees on top of that. And I know there's been a lot of questions from you guys, our viewers, about the decision by the Stitts to send their security detail, the OHP trooper, to Guthrie instead of one of them. It was something the deputy on body cam video was definitely frustrated with, but we checked the statutes and it says using security detail in this manner is completely allowed here in Oklahoma. In fact, it says the detail can be used for transportation of the governor and the governor's immediate family. I do want to point out, guys, that we did reach out multiple times to the governor's team. So far, we have not heard back from them on this.
Okay, solid reporting covering all of your bases there, Evan. Thank you.
Thank you.